What's happening, guys? Thursday night, midnight video. Wanted to talk to y'all real quick about something. Why everybody is bearish here. Let's start completely fresh. Let's take a look at something. We don't need any of that stuff on here. We don't need RSI. Okay, you ready for this? NASDAQ. How to call tops and bottoms. And more importantly, how to call fake tops and fake bottoms so you're not on the wrong side of a trade. Okay? Let's check this out. Here's the NASDAQ. This was a real bottom. This was a real top. This was a real bottom. Is this a real top? Let's look at it. Let's go into the 4-hour chart. Here's what I'm looking for on a real top. We have a huge breakdown bar, right? They come back into this gap, fair value gap, right? They come retest it and then fail further, right? You can Google that. Here's one thing you won't be able to Google. This you will only get from Jake the Stock Guy. Are you ready for this? Here's a real top, right? The reversal breaks below the breakup candle. Here's a fake top. It did not break below, right? So that's rule number one. Rule one. This breakdown, get below, break up. That's the first question you ask yourself, right? Now, let's delete that. Let's look at something else. Does, and this is going to be important, does the candle break below a pivot, or does it come up short? Now this pivot is a little bit different because it was the actual reversal candle. So the first pivot's not really as important. Mainly just breaking below that is a sign of reversal, right? Just like this break pivot was a sign of reversal and it went lower. But here's the difference. On a true breakdown, they're going to bounce before they get to support, right? So where is this? Let me put my magnet on for this. Pay attention. This would have been the pivot. Where did that candle stop? Before the pivot, right? That was the pivot. That was the next pivot in line from here. The next swing low. That's where all the stop losses were of anybody that got taken out here. They still have stop losses here at this prior breakup, right? The candle stopped before the breakout. It reversed before the breakdown. And then they pierced it and reversed, right? Now, let's look at the next one. Let's keep rolling. Where's the next pivot? Right here, right? Did they bounce before or after? Before. So that next time they came through, they could break it, right? The next one. They bounced before the pivot, they broke it. They bounced before the pivot, and then eventually they broke it, right? So let's take a look. Where's the next pivot here? That one's pretty debatable. Low of this candle was 19.422.25, 19.420.50. So that did pierce it just a little bit. And what did that cause? That caused a fake breakdown here because they didn't bounce before the break. So they got a reversal the other way, right? And then eventually, what did they do here? This pivot, they bounced before it. They got that big squeeze so that they could break it the next time they came down. And then eventually, here's how we know the reversal was going to happen. The next pivot, what did they do? They broke through it without bouncing before it. So that then flipped and became support. Does that make sense? So, on a true reversal, 2, does the down leg bounce before the pivot or swing high, right? So that's how you know to remain bearish. If you are bouncing before a pivot, then look for it to eventually break. If you're breaking through a pivot, a prior swing low, then likely it's not going to hold. It's not going to last. And the reason is you have to ask why. What is the purpose of breaking that target? What is the fundamental purpose of breaking it? Because we're trading technicals, but truly the fundamental purpose of this, of bouncing beforehand, is for anyone who does get in long here, they also make their stop there. So you're creating more sellers by bouncing it early, right? And so when you break it, you not only have sellers here getting stopped out, you get sellers here now also getting stopped out, and eventually it will move to its next leg down. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people will look at this and say, well, why isn't that a top? It has a break up candle and a breakdown candle. Well, because 2 reasons. Let's go ahead and delete everything. Start over. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, this candle closed above this candle, right? This would have been the candle to break, and the breakdown did not break that break up candle. So that was a sign that this was weak selling, right? And then what happened over here? The pivot got broken, right? Without a green bar, without a green candle there to force it down to the next level. So now that you know that, what a true top is, let's go over here and let's delete this again. Now let's look at this reversal, because we have some signs here, right? So what is the first sign? We have a breakdown candle larger than the breakup candle and even the breakup swing, right? We closed below it. We now have a fair value gap right here. And as long as candle bodies don't close above it, then it'll continue to go lower. It'll push lower. Now here's the trick. That marks number 1, rule 1, right? But what about rule 2? Is there a green candle before this pivot? They broke below this pivot before a green candle formed, before they bounced. They did not bounce here. They just stopped and then continued lower, right? This is a bounce. This is a continuation. They broke the pivot before continuing lower, right? If this was a sustainable move down, then this tail candle would not be here. This tail candle would not be here, right? So imagine that was not there. They came up short, bounced, and then broke it, right? But they didn't. They broke the pivot before bouncing. So what happened? When they went to break it again, it didn't work because there are no shorts here to continue lower. There are no sellers here anymore. These sellers got taken out on this candle. So now where's the stop? Anybody that bought, the stop is right here, not right there. So they would have to break this to continue lower. They did that, but what happened? They did not bounce before that. So they ran up. This was a fake top. Just want to let everybody know that real quick. Now, let's assume that's a fake top and we're bullish, right? So let's do the same thing with the bull market here. This prior pivot, what did they do? They came up short so that next time they could break it. Now they failed to trap shorts here to make it look like a true top. But what did they do today? They came up short of a target so that they can break it. Right? Does that make sense? This would have been the new stop loss for everybody. The short sellers stop loss, this was it. They did not come and sweep it and then reverse lower. They came up short of a number so that next time they get to it, they can break it. Now let's zoom out. What are they doing here? We have, is this a true top? Is this a true top? Let's see. This candle broke down below this, so yes, check 1. That's a sign of a reversal. Sign 2, go to the most recent pivot. Did they bounce before it or after it? They went below it. They did not bounce here and then continue lower. They went through the pivot and then reversed. Right? So when this came back down to this area, those shorts are not there anymore to pull it down. Those shorts are now hanging out. I mean longs, I'm sorry. The long stop losses are hanging out down here. So they would have to come all the way down here just to continue to go lower. Right? So this is a fake top. This is not a true top of the stock market. Right? That's on a weekly chart. So go back to the weekly real quick, one more. What are they doing here? Let's erase all our stuff. Now this is weekly, so this is for long-term investors, right? So we know that's a fake top now, right? Because we broke the last one, trapped shorts, pushed it higher. Where's their next target? It would be that pivot or this pivot, either one. Let's just say it's the all-time high on the NASDAQ. What are they doing? They're coming up short. They're not running to it. They came up short and pulling back, going higher, pulling back. And if they come up short of a number, which you could say maybe this breakdown candle high, if they're coming up short of a number, what does that mean? It means they plan to break it, right? So before you get all bearish, remember what I said on Sunday. We'll get some pullbacks, but the market is bullish. The market is still bullish right now. Let's look at SPY and see if this has any signs of reversal yet. So in this one was even better because the breakdown candle did not even break the break up candle. It was not a complete reversal. Even though they took it out, it wasn't a complete reversal. So what did that tell you? Immediately that would say this is not a fake top, or this is not a real top. This is fake, right? It did not break down. So hopefully that's helpful. Have a good night.